A siren's wailing in the background. There's a drone buzzing around like a wasp with a vendetta, and I'm up to my hips in freezing, muddy pond water, yanking old cedar boards out of a spillway while the HOA president shrieks that I'm committing a felony. She's red in the face, screaming that I'm opening the ark. Whatever that means, right? I just brace myself, give those boards a tug, and they come loose with this awful slurp, like boots in thick mud. Suddenly, water rushes through the chute, pouring silver and wild, and in less than a minute, the HOA's 80 grand decorative stream bursts open like a shaken soda, sending gnome statues and patio chairs sailing past the clubhouse in a tide of mud and lawn debris. And honestly, in that second, it feels like I'm in the wrong movie, or maybe the right one. So, that's how you find me, standing there, soaked and shivering, while the county hydrologist with his clipboard just stares at his flow meter like he can't believe any of this is real. Well, I tell him, deadpan, if you wanted proof I'm not hoarding water, maybe check your numbers now. By the way, I'm Victor Ames, school counselor, mostly keep to myself. Got through a rough divorce, just trying to live quiet on my 1.6-acre lot at Sagebrush Crest. This neighborhood, man, it's something else. Every house a slightly different shade of beige. Gossip that spreads faster than wildland fire, and a stack of HOA rules thick enough to put you to sleep. Now, my place, nothing fancy. Out back there's this little pond and a low-earth dam left. Over from the old ranch days, back when people used to actually do something with this land besides complain on Nextdoor. There's a seasonal swale, 3 old cedar boards you can pop in or out. Legal, checked by the county, boring as paint drying. Or it was, until Belinda Pute got herself elected HOA president. Yeah, Belinda. Picture a woman with helmet hair, suspicious of everything but, especially anyone minding their own business. She started calling my little pond the reservoir, drawing it out like she was talking about Hoover Dam, and from that moment, my life took a sharp left turn. It all kicked off when the county sent out drought notices, and Belinda discovered a brand new passion for amateur hydrology, powered by bad internet advice and too much caffeine. First, I get a 5 grand fine on official-looking paper, accusing me of operating an unauthorized reservoir and starving the community of water. Next week, it's $1,000 for a non-compliant aquatic tranquility device. The offending device. 3 cattails at the pond's edge. She started trespassing at sunrise, filming with her selfie stick like she'd just uncovered some kind of drug tunnel. Then she mailed me a cease and desist blue cardstock with a lotus flower watermark. You can't make this stuff up. She demanded I release all waters immediately. The evidence packet was drone photos so zoomed and angled, it made my pond look like the Grand Canyon. Meanwhile, her prized HOA stream, a glorified pump that ran all day through grass that doesn't belong anywhere near our climate, was gulping water at a rate that'd bankrupt a small country. But in Belinda's mind, I was public enemy number 1, the evil landowner keeping Sagebrush Crest parched. You see where this is going, right? Things got wild fast. She launches her own citizen sandbag action, rounding up volunteers to block my overflow with sandbags, claims it'll force me to let go of hoarded water. Instead, the whole thing blows up in her face. The blockage floods my neighbor's vegetable garden, water pours over the walking path, and the county's drought inspection team just happens to roll by. As it's all happening, you'd think she'd back down. Nope, she doubles down, calls the state water hotline, claims I'm some kind of hostile land baron with an illegal impoundment. That's when the parade starts. County hydrologist, state water master, fish and wildlife officer, all pulling up at my property like it's Area 51. The water master reads my file out loud. Stormwater permit. Board height limits. Everything signed off by the county years ago. He flips through Belinda's binder of screenshots, holding back a laugh. They set up meters, check everything, and the hydrologist. She fires up a laptop and launches into a PowerPoint about community moisture equity, waving around pie charts that honestly look like she made them in MS Paint. Suddenly, the fish and wildlife guy, the real wild card here, pipes up, asks why the HOA's stream dumped straight into a storm drain, and why it's losing 2 inches an hour from cracked liners. Somebody opens the pump house. The place looks like it's run by raccoons, pipes everywhere, making noises like a broken espresso machine. The meters tell the truth, quick and brutal. My pond, doing exactly what it should, feeding groundwater. The HOA stream, wasting water by the truckload, most of it vanishing into the storm drain. I asked the water master if he wants a demonstration. He just nods, so I grab those boards and yank. The water rolls out clear and fast, cuts through the channel, hits the HOA collection box. But thanks to Belinda's sandbags, it backs up, surges backward, and pretty soon the clubhouse patios turned into a lazy river, with all those expensive decorations floating away. Now here's the twist. While everyone's gawking, the county hydrologist starts taking pictures of Belinda's illegal sandbagging and the tampered culvert. Belinda points at me, shrieking sabotage. But the sheriff, who's been quiet all morning, just looks at her and says she sabotaged herself. Then he starts handing out citations, false reports, tampering with stormwater infrastructure, unauthorized earthworks, and my personal favorite, using HOA funds for an unpermitted water feature. During a drought. By now, half the neighborhood is out on the path, watching their HOA dues float by on little toy chair rafts from the stream display. 3 days later, we have an emergency HOA meeting that breaks every attendance record. The vote to kick Belinda out as president isn't even close. The big, scary fine against me? Gone, replaced by a restitution order. The HOA and Belinda, personally, have to cover the flood damage to the neighbors, wasted water, and the loss of one epic heirloom tomato crop. And just when you think it's over, the county steps in, orders the HOA to rip out their precious stream, swap the lawns for xeriscaping, and puts the same hydrologist Belinda tried to lecture in charge of the project. But the real cherry on top, Belinda's court sentence, has her spending Saturdays filling sandbags for the actual county flood program, while attending Stormwater 101. And when the judge read that out loud, you could almost hear the satisfaction ripple through the courtroom. Here's the thing. I still walk past that spot every morning, coffee in hand, neighbors waving, the old dam quiet now, the clubhouse patio dry. But sometimes, I wonder, did any of this really solve the bigger problem, or just give everyone a new story to whisper about? You tell me, was I the villain here, or just the first guy willing to stand his ground? Go on, sound off in the comments. Who's right, who's wrong, and where would you draw the line in your own backyard? Let me tell you, life after the Belinda blow-up didn't go back to normal, not by a long shot. The HOA might have swapped out the fancy lawns for rocks and native grass, but the tension didn't just wash away with the mud. For weeks after the vote, people acted like I was some kind of folk hero, clapping me on the back at the mailbox, dropping off zucchini bread, joking about starting a petition to name the dry creek bed Victor's Revenge. It was flattering for about 5 minutes. But you know how it is in these neighborhoods. Memories are short, and grudges are even shorter. A couple weeks in, a new face showed up at the HOA office. Maya Jensen, interim president. Sharp-eyed, clipboard always in hand, but nothing like Belinda, thank God. She called me in for coffee on her porch, and I braced for another round of accusations. But instead, she just asked straight up, Victor, how much of that stormwater stuff is actually true? Can you teach us? And for a second, I almost laughed out loud. I mean, there I was, a guy who just wanted to mind his own business, suddenly getting asked to help run a community water workshop. So, that's how I found myself a week later standing in front of a crowd of neighbors, some of them still looking at me like I might pull out a chainsaw and start draining swimming pools. We set up a little demonstration with clear tubes, buckets, and some dyed water. Real hands-on, nothing fancy. And you know what? People got into it. Kids poking at the tubes, the old-timers asking questions, even that grumpy guy from Lot 12 taking notes. Maya stood at the back, arms folded, nodding along. There was this one little girl, Olivia, curly hair, grass stains on her knees, who asked if frogs were going to come back now that the pond was safe. I didn't have an answer, but I promised we'd build her a frog house. Just in case. Now, don't get me wrong, some folks still gave me the side-eye. The Belinda loyalists, as the neighborhood started calling them, kept muttering about property values. And once or twice I found a nasty note in my mailbox. Anonymous, of course, because that's how cowards operate. But it wasn't all bad. I started getting calls from people in other neighborhoods. One guy from Prairie Hollow, another from Cottonwood Ridge, wanting advice on their own HOA messes. It turns out, word travels faster than fire when there's drama involved. Then, just when things were settling, Belinda herself showed up at my door one Saturday morning, hands jammed in her jacket pockets, not a trace of that helmet hair left. She looked about 10 years older, tired, but oddly human. She stared at my boots for a minute, then just said, "I was wrong." I didn't know what I didn't know. No apology for the cops or the fines, but still, it knocked the wind out of me. I invited her in for coffee. What else do you do? And we talked. Really talked. She told me how lonely it was at the top, how easy it was to believe you're the hero when everyone else seems like the villain. I get that now, maybe too well. Weirdest thing? Belinda started showing up to the stormwater workshops. Not leading, not lecturing, just listening, nodding, taking notes like everyone else. The kids stopped being scared of her. Even Olivia dragged her by the hand to see her frog house, and I swear, I saw Belinda smile for real for the first time. Now, if you're expecting some fairy tale ending where everyone's friends and the HOA magically fixes all its problems, well, you haven't spent much time in Sagebrush Crest. There's still drama, still whisper campaigns, still people who'd rather argue about mulch color than actually help out. But there's also a little more honesty. More neighbors waving instead of glaring. Some mornings I catch Maya out by the pond, checking water levels, and she always tips her mug at me, like we're in on some private joke. And me? I still get up early, check the dam, make my coffee, and watch the sun hit the new wildflowers along the old stream bed. Sometimes I think about how close I came to losing all this, to letting someone else's fear bulldoze what made this place feel like home. But then Olivia's frog house catches the light. Or Belinda stops by with an update from her class, and I figure maybe, just maybe, we're learning something out here. Not just about water or rules or who owns what, but about how to live side by side, even if we'll never totally agree. So that's the update for anyone keeping score at home. Was it worth all the headaches, the legal fees, the endless debates? Would I do it again? Yeah, I would. Because sometimes the right fight isn't about winning or losing. It's about standing your ground, even if your boots get a little muddy along the way. But hey, what about you? Ever taken on your own HOA drama? Or stood up when everyone else said, just let it go? I want to hear those stories. Drop your wildest neighborhood tales. Tell me where you draw the line. And let's keep this conversation rolling. Because out here, the only thing deeper than the mud is people's opinions, and I wouldn't have it any other way.